A very warm welcome to everyone on the panel. So today we are discussing about the topic legal integration and their after effects and this journey so far. So I warmly welcome Ms. Preeti Sethi, Deputy General Counsel from Vedanta Group, Ms. Bijoya Roy, Mr. Sushanth Samrat, Ms. Komal, Sameet Gambhir, and Ms. Komal Gupta from CAM. Successful legal tech integration lessons learned along the way. So there has been change, after this pandemic. There has been a force catalyst that we have to move towards technological changes, and we had to bring this technological changes into law as well. There have been various changes in how we practice as lawyers, whether as an in-house counsel role or whether as a litigator, a lawyer in front of the courts. Now, considering the changes which we have faced, there are various challenges as well, which the lawyers have faced, which the in-house counsels has faced across this journey, right? I would like to hear from the panel, what are those challenges, and what are the challenges which they have seen, or how they have handled those challenges so far. Over to you, Ms. Preeti, please.
So, legal tech, as we know it, it goes back many years. It started, I think, the first tool which came to help lawyers was MS Word and the printers and copy-paste, which just made everything very easy. Nobody had to type anything anymore. And then there were these legal search engines like Manu Batra, SCC Online, which were adopted. But over the years, things have become more complicated. And I would say the biggest challenge in adoption of legal tech is that it has to be something which is easy to adopt. Often, as an in-house counsel, the biggest challenge which I've faced in implementing any other tool, whether it's a compliance tool or a litigation management tool, or you name it, the time taken to implement the tool, that itself is a project which takes around 1 year. And maybe the man hours which are spent in implementing the tech tool just don't really make sense. You may as well do that work. So often you would see compliance as a necessary evil, but beyond that, when it comes to tools around contract drafting, contract automation, or contract management, there's a huge resistance, especially when you go beyond the legal function. You have to involve your other user departments and your vendors, etc. So there's lack of a single platform. So while during the pandemic, we all used the existing platforms like Zoom, Teams, etc. to work, which were widely adopted. When you talk of the legal tech tools, beyond a certain level, their adoption across industry is so limited. Maybe one company uses something, another company uses something. That sort of impedes the adoption of legal tech, so as to say. So we are just still mostly, everybody is back to the basics. You are using the MS Office, the MS Teams, and your own small little tools like legal search engines and little bit of that sort. But
I think it's basically the trust over these legal technologies. It is still, over the technologies and the use of them in the legal industry, I think, which is, still creating a gap. I would like to hear something from you, Ms. Joy, since you are adopting a lot of technologies as we discussed,
Okay, first and foremost, I am a woman. I'm just confirming that in case anyone had any doubts, not Mr. Bijoya. So I think, look, there are a whole bunch of challenges. I'm completely with Preet on this, right? In terms of the core challenges. And then we as a function have an additional challenge as well, right? As it is, legal departments are, in most companies, looked at as a cost center. We are not a profit generator. We don't really contribute to the bottom line, right? And then when we put in asks for tech build out, that might take, I don't know, 1 crore and upwards in some cases, depending on what you're asking for. How do you actually justify the ask? How do you actually bring forward the seriousness? And many a times you will find explaining to your management that it'll bring in, I don't know, workflow efficiencies, or, ease up our time and, tailor out all the low-hanging, low-value work, etc., doesn't work, right? It's still looked at as a big expense for a cost center. So I think that's a big challenge as well. In addition to everything, I'm totally aligned with what Preet said, right? So this is in top up to that. And I have made really interesting arguments over the years. In fact, I was in a very long conversation with my CEO last night, and he's thrilled with the digital transformation we're doing. And there's very good reason to it, right? There are ways and means to show each of these tools contribute to the bottom line, right? And I think we're very bad. If I leave my law firm's colleagues out of it, as in-house counsel, we're very bad at sales, very bad at selling ourselves, right? And this is where we have to put our sales hat on and show them exactly how it translates into numbers for them.
I think rightly said, that's a black box challenge, as, considered, that unless and until you know that how the technology is giving you what kind of results, right? Unless that trust comes across, or that faith comes across, while a lawyer is using the technology, I think that's where the whole gamut of questions are lying. Over to you, Ms. Komal, please.
Okay, I actually have two sides to explain, and I've heard my co-panelists. So before I joined CAM, I used to work for a legal outsourcing company called Integrion, and I had a role of business development in Australia. So I used to on and off, generate contracts for my clients there. And I'm beginning from there because with the legal outsourcing being a very big part of my career, I have always delivered legal services using technology. And that is why you'll find in this space, we are lawyers who are very good friends with technology, and we actually cannot work without technology. So wherever we are asked to do manual stuff and not use technology, we get uncomfortable. Pretty much how traditional practitioners, how they get uncomfortable when they're asked to use technology. So I remember our GC then in Integrion had developed a contract management tool in-house on the portal, on the intranet. And that made life so easy because we had standard templates. All that we needed to do is, generate the draft from there, tweak the SOW, and then send it to the GC for approval. And they would make corrections. Again, everything was digital. It would come to us on email. There was no, sending attachments, etc. And life was just so easy. Plus, it was all, there was an audit trail. What am I sending? What is coming back to me? When was it approved? Is the turnaround time being met by the GC? When am I sending the contract? And, the whole process was extremely smooth with my clients. Now coming to the law firm side, where we are, actually, for me, it's pretty much I'm delivering services for my clients. But now within the law firm, there is such a huge variety of work that we do. And it's important, again, now implementing legal tech, it's important that you, number one, understand the scope of work. Where all are you finding the opportunities where you can implement legal tech? And once you've identified the scope of work, then you try to identify the right vendor for it, the right legal technology for it. You asked for a challenge. Our challenge is that everybody wants to come to us for their legal tech product. So, a contract management tool, there are tens of them. A compliance tool, 10. Due diligence 10, proofreading 10. And then how do you decide out of those 10, which one is the best for you? So the way we work, the way I would function and the way I would meet the legal technology service providers is, number one, can they deliver what I'm expecting? So the first task is really on me, that I get the scope of the work right. I know what I want from the technology. The second thing is, you have to figure out whether the technology vendor is flexible or not. Is it they come with, this is what we offer and this is what you have to take? Or are they happy to work with you to tweak their solution and make it, your requirement specific? The third one, how are we going to implement it? Do I have the right talent on my team? Because I cannot depend on the vendor all of the time. But at the same time, what is the support that I'm going to get from the vendor? it is very important that I have a strong team that can help me implement that legal tech. And I can tell you from the law firm experience, where we talk about resistance, where we talk about how do I show the value that the adoption of this particular technology is going to get in due diligence for the M&A team to work on, or get all the lawyers to be using a proofreading technology, or say, great, you're using SEC Manupatra, but here we've got an AI-enabled research tool, which will also tell you that this precedent is good to quote in the court and this one is not, because this has been overruled. So, very easy stuff. So start using that. How do you get people out of their comfort zone and then ask them to start using these great technologies? The fourth one, what is the after-sales support? Great, we've got the deal done, announcement made. After that, what? If I'm stuck, if I'm struggling, what is the support that I'm going to get after that? And what is the pricing like? Is the vendor trying to, recover all the costs from me? Because I'm that one client who said yes, or I'm those few clients who said yes, or am I getting the right price? The pricing is also very important, because believe me, I have seen a whole range of prices being told. And, again, you have to be very knowledgeable to decide that this is the right price and, I should go for it. In terms of challenges in the law firm with legal tech, I just say that it's the mindset. How do we, and I'm saying that because I have the experience in legal tech. My team is great in implementing. So everything that I quoted, we are sorted with all of that. Now it is the users, from just being a buyer, a purchaser of legal technology. How do you become a consumer? And for that, my audience is my lawyers, and how do I reach out to the lawyers to make sure that they understand the advantages of legal tech? And then how do I find the champions within the firm who will then create more champions for me? That really is my journey.
I think rightly mentioned that balance is very, very important here, right? The key is to identify what are you looking for, how it will solve your issues. And it is critical to understand that what kind of outcome are you getting, what kind of support are you getting afterwards, because just moving ahead in a rush that we want to get technically integrated, adopt that technology into the organization, I think that's not the right approach
just
here.
For the sake of an announcement.
Yes. But a lot of there's a lot of debate around that, does that actually enhance the working culture of an organization? Does it really help in the revenues of an organization? So I would like to have your views on the same.
100%, it definitely helps in improving efficiency, keeping a record. But the question on ROI is tough because it's so new. It is very difficult to say in black and white, this is the return on investment. It's a developing area and we just have to be patient with it. I'm pretty sure in another 5 years, we will be able to reach to a close, approximate of an ROI. But right now, if my managing partner asks me, tell me exactly what you're going to save. Difficult to say in terms of money, but more on the efficiency side. And our lawyers have actually themselves evaluated and said that if nothing else, we are at least saving on a 30% time. And accuracy definitely improves with legal tech.
There are situations, where there is a question in reference to the privacy and confidentiality, Though we are moving ahead with the technology, we are incorporating that. So, even in my organizations that I have worked for so far, right? We are integrating that technology into, our outputs that we require, and we want to enhance that outputs. But are we compromising on the security or the confidentiality of the information that we are sharing with an outside firm? Though we do have, the boilerplates and we do agree to in part of the agreement, but what are the actual checks? Is that the security and confidentiality has been looked into, or what are the aspects and what are your thoughts about, Mr. Sameet? I would like to hear it from you as well.
So I think, so one thing is, we need to understand is there is a difference between the use of technology and integration of technology. So we have been using the technology for many years now, and we have seen that, how to use the technology in different works. But when we talk about integration of technology into your work, particularly in the legal issues and legal tech and all, then there's a difference. Then at that point of time, there's a huge investment involved, number one. And then you have to really justify your case that, yes, this is something we need for our organization. We need because we need to avoid the risk. We need because we need to make it a faster. We need it because, we need to avoid other challenges, etc. So in terms of, for example, contract management, it's a very, very good tool. Everyone has in GCs and everyone in the legal fraternity has seen that contract management is it's a very, very good tool. And, there was a time when we used to get small contracts also for review, for negotiation, for bidding. Now, what happens is that when you integrate a technology, it's very important that you involve all the stakeholder of the organization. That is what I learned, the lesson I learned. I'm talking about for example, a compliance tool. When we were trying to, build a compliance tool in the enterprise level, we realized that it's not easy for me to market it or for me to, just to justify that this is something is required unless, I've been able to involve all the business heads in that, all the risk management people, all the internal audit people. So there was a task force which was created. And then we realized that the value what we are getting is not only, in the GC or in a GC office or a company secretary office, the value we are getting at a business level. So what we did was we make all the business heads as a stakeholder in that. We explain them the benefits of that. We understood that what they're doing currently legally, in terms of using the technology, but not integrating the technology. And thereafter, we made a case. I think it took us 2 years, to completely make that on board. But ultimately, we have been able to realize that every business that now says that, yes, I'm saving something out of it. So I think integration is very important. I'm also talking about, I still remember an instance, when I joined in an organization long back. So I joined as a legal head and company secretary, and the guy who was before me was handling all the contracts, and there was an admin guy who also left. And suddenly I was given a quota of entire contracts in the organization. So I started reading all those contracts, and within a time of a month, I was just reading one of the contract, and you will not believe. It's like I was, what to do now. There was one contract because we had offices in different floors. There was one rental contract which was already expired. Nobody was there to even, take care of that. And that was the floor where our chairman office was there. Can you believe that? And, I was very new in the job. What do I do now? And then I realized it's best to, go and talk to him. I went to my CEO, told them that this is what is happening. I've recently joined. There was nobody here. Admin guy also left, and he was making, track of all the rental agreements and all. And then I realized that having a contract management system is very important, particularly if you have many contracts, thousands of contracts and all, because then, you don't know what can be slipped out of your mind. That is one. The other is, the other integration, what we have done is, as a company secretary, I can tell you in terms of governance and all, when the related party concept came into the picture by the SEBI, it was very difficult for us to monitor that. How do you take the prior approval of each related party by the audit committee? Then we thought of, putting a tool into that. And then we realized that we have to really integrate this. Only using the tool doesn't make it a sense. We integrated that into our SAP or maybe accounting tool, wherein, we control each and every entry to the PAN number of the person. And now the system is automated. Whenever there is an entry or there is any transaction which is going to happen when any of the related party, it will not get passed. First, it will get to us. Immediately, your system will send to me, and then I'll approve it, and then, it will go. So,
law firms or organizations consider.
Audible, I don't know.
So,
is she audible? At least you are awake all.
so a lot of organizations and a lot of law firms, consider this to be a very big cost. Having a technology solution, so they consider this to be a very big cost. Preeti, I would like to hear your views on this.
Yeah, so cost is at times an element, but mostly it is also, if you can really demonstrate, you'll get some benefit out of it, that gets allowed. But biggest challenge at times is, the resistance to technology and the elements which you mentioned, confidentiality is one of them. And obviously, when you talk of things like your compliance tools, that is the most important, or your contract management tools, or even your litigation case files, your strategies, etc. But that is where, you need to involve your other stakeholders, your IT departments, and you need to ensure, who's the vendor who's giving, because often the resistance which comes is, and the issues which come are with the smaller vendors. Some of the bigger companies, the bigger service providers, they do have inbuilt safeguards built in the tool, and your IT can always do a VAPT test. That has always been a mandatory test for IT to give a clearance to a tool. And then also there's the issue of the server. The best solution always is to host your confidential information and the tools in your server, and to negotiate for rights to use that data even if the software license expires. Often, if you don't do that, then if you do not wish to renew the tool, your data is stuck in that portal or in that software.
So I think
we should be able to get that data out.
Problem which organizations face generally, these technologies are over-promising and they're underperforming, So I think that's an issue of the sales and the actual outcome which you are getting. So I would like to hear it from Sushanth as well. He has joined with us virtually. So please share your views on this as well.
First of all, I think, I would like to, I was reminded of this wonderful joke that was moving around during the, pandemic period, saying that, which is the one that has caused digitization in business? A, technology, B, COVID-19, and C, artificial intelligence, and D, blockchain. I believe a lot of people have opted for COVID-19. So I think that's the truth factor that is happening even in the legal industry today. So had it not been for COVID-19, I do not think that we would anyway see the virtual courts and other things happening today. I think that's all a exercise that was supposed to happen a long time ago. But I believe that this is something that has actually promulgated the use of technology to legal practice. And I would like to also tell you that when we started off in 2012, in fact, we began our journey into the legal space because most probably I specialize in the area of technology and cyber laws. And I started my own consulting firm in 2012. And we started adopting technology as a walk of life apart from just a practice. So that's where we started to think about how technology could be used. We started coming up with our own cloud-based data storage initially for our clients, and confidential information of our clients getting stored over there. And later on, we built a lot of new interesting in-house development tools. In fact, I have more of an IT team rather than a legal team, because we are planning to run more on technology than the kind of legal space. So I believe that that's something that we have as an advantage today, because not just having understanding and advising clients on techno-legal aspects, but also implementing the same in law firm practice is something that I believed in. And we started making use of these technologies like blockchain in 2016 itself for our internal organization purpose, so that it will be very easy for us to understand how the documents are shared, who are all the stakeholders, permissions, and no modification, and making advantage of the immutable nature that it has, basically. And also later on we laid our hands on to artificial intelligence as well. So I would say that rather than selling our services to clients, we started having more and more bandwidth, so that given the kind of legal challenges that are cropping up due to technology today, I think that's something that has really paved way and has given us a lot of opportunity to handle a lot of clients across the globe, in fact. And when we started off in 2012, we started off with even virtual meetings and the things that are happening today, because we were serving almost clients in 6 or 7 countries at that point. But today, I believe that these technology-related aspects are adding more and more bandwidth to us, and is giving us a lot of advantage, even from not just the aspect of reducing the work burden, as well as helping us to accommodate more and more clients. So I believe legal tech is something that we had as a great advantage in our law firm's practice.
Thank you, Mr. Sushanth. Thank you for your insights into this. I think the major question, this is for the young lawyers, the ones who are the fresh law graduates, which they are, in question. So there have been different studies, and there are studies in reference to that bringing technology into law might impact, the requirement of lawyers. in the organizations, or as probably the litigators for the legal research, or other requirements, like we have document abstraction, or we have contract abstraction, we have document reviews. So bringing in artificial intelligence impact the job requirements for these youngsters. So I would like to hear, we would like to know your experiences, and what are your views in this reference, please.
So I have a very different view on this, and I absolutely don't think that today's younger lawyers, and if I get it right, ULA students, I don't think any of you feel threatened by legal tech. Because my experience says that all the new lawyers that come to our firm, they are not willing to do anything that technology can do. They are rather very happy that there is technology to take care of stuff that doesn't need to be seen by them. So I think, in fact, that we need to bring in legal tech into the curriculum and, really upskill our lawyers so that from day one they know what technologies are available and what is the work they need to spend time on and what is the work they don't need to spend time on. So I have not come across any young lawyers who are feeling threatened by legal tech.
That's great, I think.
So I think, I agree with you, but there's one thing which is, a lot of people are facing, particularly the young lawyers. I don't know. See, there was a time when we joined the legal profession. We used to given a lot of case laws and all to study these, to research these and all. So this is what is not happening today much, because research is very easily available. Case laws are very easily available. Citations are very easily available. Plus, all the compliances and all are very easily, done by the system. So I think there was a kind of a training which we got was, get into a law and then analytics, analyze the case laws. So a lot of analytics is diminishing nowadays.
Yeah, analytics is now being done by technology.
So that's the reason I'm telling you, in terms of using your human brains and all, up to some extent, technology is, I think up to some extent, the technology is making that a little difficult for the young lawyers to, grab the things. But yes, ultimately you have to embrace that, because technology is the future, definitely.
And I would just like to add here, that we are trying to make easy. So from CAM's side, you will be hearing very soon that we are going to be doing something in the legal tech space for our law students, so that the lawyers who are coming out feel comfortable with legal tech.
So I think we'll just open up the session for any questions from the audience, please. So I think I think I have something, Ms. Bijoya, like, what are your thoughts on this? Like, do you have any suggestions for the organization in reference to, or any for the young lawyers, how they can, probably, upscale themselves, with this?
I think we're the ones who need upskilling. Let me be very frank, right? Our younger lawyers are born with technology. It comes naturally to them. They don't look at it as a threat. It's just part of their life, right? I mean, my son's 10 years old. He's way more advanced in tech than I'm ever going to be, right? So I'm the Stone Age person. And I think the upskilling is more at our end than with the youth. I think, just a little bit of one thing. I know we have a little bit of time left. I didn't see any questions in the room. Data privacy is a big issue when we're considering tech, because there are two types of tech that an in-house team or a law firm might be embedding. One is a domestic tech, and one might be coming from their group level as well, right? So just be mindful when you're looking at tech, when you're evaluating tech, as to if it's web-based. I know my co-panelist here talked about cloud-based solutions, where that data is getting stored. And whether that triggers any kind of GDPR concerns, because it might be stored in somewhere in the EU as well, depending on where that tech is coming from. And if it's in India, bear in mind that you need to start applying privacy by design from day one, because the new, the bill is still out there. It will come into play. So make sure that you're sort of you're thinking 3 steps ahead when you're implementing tech. I think that is my one piece of advice.
I would like to add something.
In the heat of time, I would like to just wrap up the session. I think thank you for the panelists for their insights into the...
Can I just add one perspective, please?
Sorry. Sure. Please. Yes, please. We have 45 seconds, please.
Okay. I just wanted to tell that, see, we are demonstrating to clients about compliances, but I believe we are also no exception to compliances. So that's the only thing that I would like to tell you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. So I think we have heard from our panelists the challenges that we are facing right now in the organizations, how we need to cope up with those challenges, how we need to streamline, like what are the objects and the scope of work which we are dealing into, and what are the outcomes that we expect. So it's not that we can, it's like one size fits all. We need to understand the needs of an organization and then probably implement the technology. Thank you for everyone for your patience for the post-lunch session. Thank you so much.